Morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Live with Liz. In the grand tradition of having technical difficulties while going live, my camera's not working, and I don't know if you can hear this like little noise that it keeps making as it connects and disconnects, but I'm just going to go with it and hope that it stays on. And if it falls off, maybe I'll have to switch to mobile or something. Um, well, after last week, at least there's no surprises when it comes to any technical difficulty for anything in your life, because I don't know if you saw, but Texas was completely shut down last week for basically the entire week. We got water back on Sunday and we got electricity back in a spotty way throughout the week, but it tended to stay on for most people Thursday or Friday of last week. And it was off starting on Sunday or Monday of last week. So it was really exciting. Today on Live with Liz, we're talking about authenticity. And this is an important subject, especially for lawyers, because I think people nowadays, not just lawyers, but everybody in general, are living in this super social media, theatrical, connected society where we always put our best front forward. Maybe we take selfies or have the image we want to project as something we want people to believe who we are. But authenticity is difficult to achieve for anyone. And for lawyers, there are some extra challenges, some extra difficulties, but it's still really, really important that we try. What do I mean by being authentic? Hey, good morning. Oh, thanks for letting me know that it's working, Leah. I don't know if it's going to stay working the whole time. And oh, Mariana, that's so sweet. It's really good to see you. I'm glad you're here. I can't believe you're here after the women's event last night in the middle of the night for both of us. And hi, Ahu, nice to see you too. Okay, so authenticity. What do I mean by being by being authentic? I mean being real and being genuine. For the IP practitioners amongst us, not fake. This is just expressing your true self and being someone who can be relatable and you can connect with people. And there are some qualities in people who are authentic and qualities in people who are not authentic. And I think if you haven't taken a self-assessment to figure out whether or not you're one of these people, it's well worth doing. When you're being authentic and you're expressing yourself in this way, you're generally more transparent. That transparency is one of the things I want to focus on for law firms and for lawyers, because that's a difficult bar, oh, pun intended, for lawyers to jump over. And there are a lot of reasons for that that make perfect sense, but it's still important that we try and do it, because being authentic creates these connections, and they create connections with everyone in your life, but especially with clients. And it's those connections with clients that get you new business and that keep business staying with you. So if you're putting value on yourself, if you're putting value on your team and on your work, and also putting value on your clients, that will shine through in those relationships that you have as you being authentic. There's more than just that. When I was in-house and I was hiring people around the world, I would do these requests for information or requests for a proposal, and I would generally choose different law firms to send them to. And when you're selecting law firms to send them to, you want to select the ones that have a decent reputation, maybe, well, far and away, the biggest thing that makes a difference when you're chosen to at least participate in an RFP or an RFI, even still today, is that word of mouth referral. I'd say even up to 80% of things coming your way, these types of opportunities, whether it's even a direct hire or an instruction, or if it's that participation in being considered, that consideration that you're being given comes from people recommending you. But it's not people recommending you in a vacuum, it's people recommending you and then having people go verify. When they're verifying, they're looking at your authenticity, and it's a subconscious process. It's not something that, oh, they're a fake person, I'm going to think, oh, they're just so fake, I'm not going to send this to them. It's just how you come across in real life to the people who are considering you. So when you're talking about being transparent for a lawyer and being authentic, it's that very brief instance in time when you have a chance to connect with the decision makers and have a chance to be considered, be in the room, and be amongst the selected. Um, those qualities that we were talking about when it comes to understanding whether or not someone is genuine or authentic, the qualities that make people think that you're not. So we all know the type, the salesy type of person who always wants to push more and more on you, upgrade, buy this from me, or the people who are, I know everything and you're wrong about everything, or maybe just people who are narcissistic or arrogant. And then the decision makers who, in often cases, have this great power distance between you. So maybe you've got a paralegal sitting at a desk who's trying to choose to hire someone who's the owner of a law firm in another country. It can be daunting if you don't make that connection to even stick within the realm of possibility to be hired. So transparency is one of the key things that makes that connection, that bridges that gap, especially for lawyers. And transparency is one of the biggest challenges for lawyers when it comes to sharing who they are in the channels that you have available. So lawyers are risk averse by nature anyway. And there are some of those qualities that make it really connect with people, that things like listening, caring, actually giving a shit about other people and understanding that, it's not all about you, and understanding more about them. So being kind, that's another one that is something that creates that genuine connection. So those are the qualities that you're trying to go for, but how do you send that message in that brief period of time that you have to connect with the people who are making the decisions to hire you? I find that the most important places to focus on your authenticity are your attorney bio, wherever it lives. Maybe it lives in social media on LinkedIn. Maybe it's a little blurb on your Instagram account. Maybe it's the bio on your website. It's definitely the bio on your website. And the way these are written, in a lot of instances, they are not transparent. They're very formulaic, where you just have, this lawyer went to this law school. It's written in third person. He graduated at this time. He focused on this. He won a bunch of cases. Here are his publications. By the way, he speaks Spanish. These are things that are, okay, this tells me a little bit about you. It gives me a little bit of a rundown on your resume, but it's not connecting with you. So you might want to be a little more creative in the bio. What does that look like? How do you be more how can you be more creative in a bio? Well, you could say something with adjectives and say, this attorney is respected for being down to earth and for winning cases. Oh, really? I'll keep reading. Or, this attorney really comes across in a direct and powerful way in the courtroom, but you can sit down and have a cup of coffee with Karen anytime. I use the word Karen for the word. That's funny. Sorry, if you haven't heard about the Karen reference, Google it. It's very interesting. So this genuine connection that you can make with the decision maker happens very quickly, and it is subconscious. But there are these channels for you to express yourself in ways that make it so that you can connect with them. One of the pitfalls that I find, especially for foreign law firms, when it comes to being transparent and being genuine, is that some of the owners or partners who control a team, I'm using the word control deliberately, because they don't want that level of transparency. So maybe your email address is hidden. Some people choose to hide their email address on purpose because they don't want to be bombarded. But come on, if people want to find you, they're going to find you these days. So it might as well come from you. And they hide their contact information. Partners will hide contact information for associates. They won't explain exactly who's doing all of the work. This comes across when you communicate with a client. So I would be sitting in house and I would call for a status update on a case somewhere around the world. And I would talk to the partner, because when the client calls, they always put the partner on the phone, and the partner would have basic information, a status update of what was happening. But when it came to the details, sometimes, more often than not, this is actually shocking to me, the partners would not have the full story or understand step by step what happened to get to a certain status. And I would just be like, didn't didn't Jasmine work on this? Can I just talk to Jasmine directly because she knows a lot more about this, I think. I'd like to speak to someone who is more hands-on with it. So a good way to, to be transparent and to be authentic and genuine is to give credit where credit is due and let the people handle things who are actually handling them, because you will lose credibility. People will not consider you trustworthy if you are hiding your people, if you're hiding things that actually happened, if you're bouncing around the topic of something. So, this happened many times. Often you would have a partner come in and be the one in control of the story, even though they weren't the ones who actually did the work. There are other instances where you have a chance to be your genuine self. Social media is a really good channel for understanding that, because we all are familiar with the way people put their best foot forward all over social media. Maybe that's not exactly who they are. Not that you necessarily want to connect your personal social media channels with your potential clients, but the people who give you those word of mouth referrals are often the people who are your closest friends. If you don't know whether or not you're someone who is genuine or authentic, there are things that you can do before you end up having those client communications, before you end up describing who you are or what your practice looks like, before you have that chance to listen to the potential client, like me sitting as a lowly paralegal in an office in the middle of nowhere in the US, hiring this fancy law firm in a foreign country. You really can turn to those people who are your closest friends and family and ask them. If you're a jerk, those are the people who are going to call you out. They're going to say, you are kind of a salesy asshole. And that's something you need to know. If you're one of them, you need to know it, because there are things that you can do about it. And if you don't want to rely on your friends and family to do that for you, we are happy to do that for you. If you want an American perspective of how you come across, whether it's how you come across online in your persona and branding, or if it's how you come across in just a general conversation, if you want to hop on and have a virtual cup of coffee with yours truly, I'd be happy to do that. Firm Forward, we spend a lot of time with people doing conference preparation and meeting preparation, and even, just role playing to go through a certain scenario. Those can be very revealing activities that you don't necessarily have to do with us. But go ahead, sit down with your friends and let them be as direct and honest with you as anyone in the world will be, because the client's not going to tell you. They're just going to hang up the phone and be like, that asshole, I'm never going to work with them. What a jerk. Or they won't even think about it at all, which is kind of worse. If you don't make that connection and you don't have that trust and you don't have that charisma, and they just kind of forget about you. So, well, okay, nothing memorable there, just simple conversation. So this is what we mean about being authentic, being true to yourself, caring, listening to people, being transparent. So describe your actual work in your bio, not a blanket third person formulaic description of what you've done, but what you've done with why it's important to you. And if you can make that little connection about why a certain case or why a certain industry is important to you. Maybe you have an experience from when you were in college. Maybe you see something as transformative and you value that. When you can actually transmit what you value to the potential client, you create that level of connection. You transmit that authenticity, and that translates into a connection, which then makes you trustworthy. And you have to be trustworthy to get the client. That's the fact. You have to be trustworthy. And I don't know if you guys can hear the binging that has been going on this entire time from my camera connecting and disconnecting. I hope you've been able to see me for this Live with Liz. If you have any questions about being authentic, if you want to do one of these role-playing scenarios, if you want to just grab a cup of coffee, there's no charge for that. I would be happy to sit down with you and we could go through it. And if you have questions, always you can send them to solutions@firmforward.com. And one other exciting tidbit for everyone is that we have our new website live, www.firmforward.com. We have restructured our services. We have some accessible pricing. If you don't see something that you need, shoot us an email, get in touch with us, let us know. We're very excited about our new social media management platform, about the new websites that we're offering, about the core services of marketing that every law firm needs and thinks they can't afford. Think of it as fractional CMO light. So we'll talk more about that, I'm sure, in the future. But for now, thanks for joining me on Live with Liz. See you next Wednesday. Bye, everybody.